Welcome back to part 6 of the Grow Tent series, where I had said that we will plant what I grow in these homemade trays into the downspouts. My home internet has been acting up for the last 3 days, so I'll show you a little clip first of about 3 days ago of what was growing in my little trays before we get started. So let's check on the progress. There's the dill. I think I have enough to start a full hydroponic tray. These are seeds from my local co-op, which I'll never purchase again. Leca Rocks, one of 2 trays that I said I would show how I normally do not grow in them. I might be able to salvage a couple from there. Spinach. We'll plant what we have and we'll start over. Lettuce, looking good. Kale, looking good. Remember, I only plant a few seeds. Romaine lettuce, again from my co-op, which I will never buy these seeds again, now that I learn that they're not necessarily heirloom. Bok choy, nasturtiums. I just planted about 4 seeds from an old package and just recently purchased a new package. So I just planted those this morning. And once again, in the leca, the spinach, I threw it all out. It was not doing anything. So before I get started putting our seedlings or starters into the downspouts, I make certain that they are full. When I say full, I fill the downspouts with the nutrients, and you can see that it is filled to the bottom of the cup. So this is my water level. I always make certain that this is how much water that I'll have in there. Let me remove these little pool noodles. Okay, this is really pretty simple. Let me tilt this down. You can see I'd let this dry up just a little. It makes it easier for me to start pulling these out. I'll try to grab some real gentle. And I usually try to put a couple in each hole in case one doesn't survive. So my pool noodle. So the pool noodles that we made throughout the center. Trying to line up these roots together here. Trying to be very careful or not to pinch them or bend them or break them. All right. Do you see the roots? All right. I take them and place them in the hole. And I'm not sure. I know that you won't be able to see inside of here, but I need to make certain that my roots are touching my nutrients. And I know it is because from my angle, I can see it. And from your angle, do you see how they're all wet? Another way I can tell is that the roots are going to, or the stems and the roots are going to be long enough, is when I made these cups, this rim at the top of the downspout is in perfect alignment with this crease that you see on the edge of this pool noodle. And you can see here, see the cup? And see the bottom of the roots? So you'll know that the roots are hanging down into the nutrients. So any that are a little too short and they do not reach the nutrients, they'll die off. And I'll show you a couple examples. I purposely left them. There's 3 small ones. Open your little pool noodle. Gently lay those in the pool noodle. With this little piece in there. We'll double check. Should be okay. Push it in there. I'll take a peek. Yes, they're laying in the nutrient water. And I'll go ahead and finish the rest of this row up. Okay, you can see that I finished this row up. And they look a little stressed, which they normally do during this process. That's why I try to be very careful. But I'm not too concerned. And like I had said in the very beginning when I was making the downspouts, is I always leave this end hole open because that's how I check it. I need to water it. I just look inside. I can see water, then I know that I'm good. So let's review what I have been doing the last 3 days that my internet has been acting up. So one of the first items I had shown you on the shelf was the dill, and I believe that I had enough to go ahead and plant. It appears to be trying to perk up. They're always a little stressed. Whoop, that one may not make it. That's okay. I have more. Okay, so the second one on the list was the romaine. And I went ahead and planted what I had. It appears it's all perked up. This one may not make it. That one's fine. That'll be fine. That one probably won't make it. And I didn't have one for this. But I did go ahead 3 days ago, plant a new batch, and look at that. It's already growing. That needs some water. Third on the list was the cilantro trying to grow in leca. And I only did it for the purpose of showing you that I choose not to. I will try another experiment later on, maybe next month. But you can see what was in the leca. I mean, it hasn't died. And I salvaged a few tiny pieces. But you can see this one died and shriveled up. And so did this one. That's all right. Cilantro normally takes 20 to 30 days to germinate anyway. So I couldn't believe I actually had that many in the leca rocks. So I just planted a new batch in my expandable soil. So next on the list was my spinach. I wasn't impressed with the amount, but I had said I was going to plant what I had. It's already perking up. What I do have, I believe it'll survive. I just didn't have enough for these 2 places right there. So I planted some more seeds, just a few seeds. And I already have one growing. Next was on the list was the lettuce, which we just planted. And you can see it looks pretty stressed. We'll take a look at it in the next couple of days. So next on the list was the kale that I already planted. I purposely left this last one open and available so I could show you how some grow faster. I really like to wait until they have a long root system, but these are so easy to plant. Yes, in the beginning, I was always worried about washing off the roots to put in there. I no longer even care about that. So next on the list was some more romaine lettuce, which was doing good. I also planted this 3 days ago. I always try to put a few in each hole. So if any of those are not touching the nutrients, it'll be real obvious. And here's a prime example. The next on the list was the bok choy. Planted that 3 days ago. It's already very perky. And I saved this last one, once again, to show you it has a different root system. probably one of the reasons why it is so easy to grow. And you can see they're always a little stressed as soon as you plant them. But no worries, they'll bounce back just like the rest of these. Nasturtiums was a big zero, and I purchased a new package and planted a couple more. I'll just check on them, water as needed, and hopefully in about 2-3 weeks, we'll have something. And lastly, the spinach that was growing in the leca rocks, nothing, nada. Threw it all away. But I went ahead and planted a new batch in my expandable soil. Then I also started another tray. If any of these do not produce, I have never grown this brand of survival lettuce, the Lola Rose. So I have another variety to try this year. And the last important thing that I wanted to show you as to why I love making these trays the way that I do is I'm going to take this one and purposely overwater it. Because I just spray these down. But I purposely just did this to kind of show you when that happens. I can just take a few pieces of pool noodle, toss them there, set the tray inside of it, let it drain. And after that's drained, I can set it in another tray to drain. So I'll go ahead and let that drain. I'll get this dumped out. So that wraps it up for part 6, where I showed you how I plant my starters, or some people call them microgreens, into my downspouts. I think for part 7, I really need to get back to starting some of the things that I plant in my garden outside. So I'm going to get my onions and sweet potatoes started. And then maybe at the end of 7, I'll show you a quick peek at the broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbage that's growing in the buckets. I hope that you enjoyed this journey, and I hope that you share, like, tell other people about the channel if it's something that may help them. I just love growing my own food and no longer having to rely on big box stores for that pesticide, poisonous, nasty herbicide produce that they have. Yes, I'm a little opinionated, but don't really care. I know what I'm eating and I love what I'm doing. Leave a comment. I'm sure people are going to disagree with what I'm doing, but that's okay too. See you on part 7, where I plant other things and use the grow tent for my grow lights. Remember, no matter what the situation is, rise above. Have a great day.